Okay, so the last time I presented something like this, I was told that I came off as someone's angry mother. I'm not changing that vibe. This is what we're doing. So that is my vibe. We all know it. So I am a games lawyer, and my background is in IP, but also software. And so when I tell people who are not in this industry that I am a games lawyer, they go, "Well, how does that work with those two expertise?" And I go, "Well, duh, software." Code is a copyright asset. So all you programmers, you are literary artists for the sake of the Copyright Act. Congratulations. Now, when we're talking about open source software licenses, we're talking about licensing a copyright asset. Now, a copyright owner has all of those things, all of those rights: the right to reproduce in material form, publish the work, perform the work in public, communicate the work in public, and make an adaptation of the work. Usually, copyright subsists for about the life of the author in 70 years. But there's lots of exceptions. The other thing that you need to think about in open source software licenses is moral rights. Moral rights are a personal right that the creator has. They cannot be assigned, so you can't transfer them to someone. And you actually can't waive them. It's not actually you'll hear a moral rights waiver. That's not actually a thing. All you can do is consent for your moral rights to be infringed. Very important in open source software licenses, because quite often you will see attribution requirements, and that's actually acknowledging the moral rights owner. So, licensing software. Software is protected under copyright laws as literary works, as I said. Licensing software allows a software owner to grant different levels of use permissions to others. The aim of licensing is to decrease copyright restrictions as desired, making software shareable. An open source license actually has to meet this technical description. It must be free to distribute, it must include the source code and allow modifications and derived works, and it must be distributed with no discrimination against persons, groups, or field and endeavour. These are the features of an open source license. Anything that doesn't meet this actually isn't open source. And when we talk about open source, a lot of people use the word free, and we don't actually mean free monetarily. We mean freedom from restriction. And so these are all the different types of licenses, going from public domain, permissive, all the way down to proprietary and trade secret, i.e. nothing can be shared. Permissive licenses. MIT and BSD are your friends. They allow you to use, adapt, commercialize code however you see fit. You must retain attribution. Your readme.txt files are there for a reason. You must keep them in there, and you must retain the disclaimer of liability that is in that text. BSD is from a different university, but essentially has a similar effect. Copyleft licenses, no, okay? If you are incorporating code that has a copyleft license into your project, the biggest issue is that you've then decided that your whole project needs to be made available to the public on those same terms. It doesn't matter if you coded it yourself, it's all proprietary. Once you've incorporated that copyleft asset, your whole thing is meant to be open source, available to the public. So please think about, who said that? You. Don't just go and download all of the assets in an open source license. You got to read those licenses, and if you can't read them, give them to me. Non-commercial, mostly like educational purposes, can't use them for any commercial means. And then what I really want you to think about is good project hygiene. Have you checked the terms applicable to all open source components in your project? Do you have a regularly updated library of those terms? SOUP, does anyone know what SOUP is? No? Okay. Software of unknown provenance. We don't know where it's come from. We don't know whether it needs patching. We have no idea how secure this code is. Don't just go to every single library of open source software and download everything. License compatibility. As I said before, copyleft license terms are not compatible with something like MIT. Don't use them together. Have you accidentally incorporated viral copyleft terms into your project? What do you do then? Because essentially you've devalued your project, and maybe you've turned off the likes of investors, people who want to acquire business, or publishers. So really important to think about right now in the beginning when you're starting a project, and then update regularly. Can you undo it? Not really. So it's something that you need to think of in the beginning. Congratulations, you played yourself. It's under an open source license, I promise, but it's not copyleft. Thank you.